All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shirat David, Baruch Hashem. We're in the middle of our lessons in Likutey Halachos Chesed Hashem. Wow, what a Chesed Hashem. We're in Hilchos Tefillin, Halacha Hey. We're in the middle of letter Chav Hey 25. All right, so we were learning this amazing concept yesterday. Right, we'll just review a little bit. Okay, that when we get up in the morning, we connected that we say Shechazata bin Nishmasi, that Hashem gave me back my neshama, right? And it came from that very high place. And then I get up early in the morning and I start doing my avodah. And then that spark starts to shine. And I put on my tefillin, right? And my tefillin really helped root that in and ground it into me, right? And the tefillah with the tefillin give me the reshima that I need for the rest of the day. Right, gives me for the rest of the day. I need that holy. I need to remember something of holiness for the rest of the day. So I wear my tefillin, give me that, and then as it gets to the night, it starts to fade away, that reshima. That's why zman tefillin are not at night, because it doesn't shine at night. That's not the time. You don't wear tefillin at night, right, David? Right? You don't wear tefillin at night, right? Okay, and then we said we go to sleep early. By going to sleep early, the earliest that we can, anyway, saying Kriya Shema Lamita, making an accounting of the day, right, and settling the account so we can go to sleep. We can have naicha, right? We say we can relax. We relax the mind. We relax everything. We can go to sleep, and then we can start the process all over again. But by doing it this way, you always have something of, you're always recalling something of holiness. You have with you something to recall all through the day, to find Hashem in everything that you're doing. Okay? And we use the tefillin shel rosh and the tefillin shel yad. We said that the tefillin shel rosh is the gematria of Chaim. Remember, we said 68. Remember that, right? The Shemas, right? And then we said that the tefillin shel yad, it goes to 112, which is Yabuk Baki, right? Okay. So this is where we're up to right now. So now we're up to the letter where it says Nimsa, right? And we're talking about now the Avodah L'Maisa, like what we do. You want me to help you find it? No? Okay. Here we go. So where do we find it? So we find it that in Klal, we have the Klalius of Tefillin, the Klal, this general thing of Tefillin. It lights the mind up, right? And there's a difference between the Tefillin Shel Yad and the Tefillin Shel Rosh. Like we said yesterday, they're two separate mitzvahs. We wear them at the same time, but they're actually two separate mitzvahs. There is a difference between the two of them. We spent a lot of time understanding what the difference is, why the Rosh has the parshias that are separated inside. It's the same parshias in the Yad and in the Rosh, right? But in the Rosh, we have the parshias separated. There are four separate compartments, where in the Yad it's the same parsha, but the same piece of cloth, but it's one piece of cloth with the same parshias on it. Do we remember why we did it? Should we go over that for one moment? Should we go over that? Right? We said that was going again. We're in the story here of the seven beggars, right? The 13th story of Rabbi Nachman, and we were talking about the blind beggar, right? The blind beggar that came to the wedding of the two children that got married, right? And he blessed them, and he made a recollection of the eight Zakanim. He had a recollection of the eight Zakanim. What were the eight Zakanim? Right, we had one Zaken was the first guy that can remember. He can recall when he was born, and they cut the umbilical cord. Interesting, right? Baby can remember. You can remember back to when you were born, when they cut the umbilical cord. Can you remember that? Well, maybe. Wait a second. Then now listen to this. Wait a second. The second guy says, "Oh, you think that's good? I can remember when I was in my mother's womb, and the candle was burning, and I was learning Torah, and I was able to see me Seif Olam Ad Seifai." Wow. We said it was an aspect of Gan Eden, right? We said that's an aspect of Gan Eden, to be in that situation, just like Adam Arishan was before the Chet. Adam Arishan before the Chet, he was able to see me Seif Olam Ad Seifai. But then once he had the Chet, he couldn't see it. So to the baby, when the baby's born, he has everything, but when he's born, he loses that. Okay. Then the third guy says, "Well, you think that was so good? I can remember when my body was being formed in my mother's womb." Wow. The next one says, "Oh, you think that's so great? I can remember when I was conceived." I can remember that moment of conception. I can remember that when I was, and the embryo was forming. I can remember that. The next one says, you think that's so good? I can remember my nefesh. I can remember where my nefesh, my soul comes from. I can remember that. And the next one said, I can, we skipped one. Hold on. We skipped one. The one that remembered when the seed was in the father's mind. He can remember before the tipa was in the father's mind before it went down to come. The next one says, I can remember the nefesh. The next one said, I can remember the ruach. The next one said, I can remember my neshama. So there's a difference, we say, between between the last four and the first four. The first four were all things of this world. We're in this world, right? The baby was still in the mother. He was conceived. This tipa was there. It was all part of this world. The next four really had nothing to do with this world, right? It was in the mayach. It's in the father's mind. That's something, okay, it's in the mind. We don't really understand what that is. It's not something physical. It's in the mind. The next one, the nefesh. We don't understand the nefesh. The ruach, we certainly don't understand. And then the shama, we know, we talk about it, but what is it? So we said that the four parshias in the Rosh are connected, the four of the ladder of four recollections, the four people that had their recollections. It's the latter one. Why is that? And those go separately because they're separate things. But Masha'in came when it came to the first four. They're all of this world. They're all part of this world. So they're really one thing. It's one hemshach. It's one continuation, and that's why the parshas and the yad go together in the yad. So that's why you have a separation between the Rosh and the Yad. Okay? Does that make any sense? And we said that the Rosh is considered the Zachar, the Yad is considered the feminine. The Zohar said that. We learned that also. Okay? So that's why it makes good sense why the Zachar is all from the father's side of things and the thing is from the mother. Okay? Good? Okay.
Yes, one thing.
What?
Then the order of them must mean something because the Rabbeinu Tam has a different order, but it's all the same words.
No. This is a concept. There's still four parshas. Then we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss later the switching of the parshas, why they were switched, and so on. But this, it's the same premise. It's the same principle because you have four and four. Exactly. It's just the order changes, but it's the same thing.
I pray that one day we'll all understand what those four mean.
Okay, amen. Amen. Okay, now, Ki Tefillin shel Rosh heim bechinas itznoitzes hamoichen shel hadas. The whole idea of the Tefillin shel Rosh is connected to the das. We said, what was the das? We said that we have Chochma, Bina, Das. Remember we said that, right? It's Noitzes is a Das. The Das. To remember constantly that it's all the Chochma Ilah. That we're always connected to the upper supernal Chachma, not to the nonsense of this world, the low nonsense Chachma of this world, but we're always supposed to connect back to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Shehu Bechinas Zer Anpin. And that's the idea of the Zer Anpin that we said when the Chachma and the Bina work together perfectly. And they can and then comes from the Chachma and the Bina comes the Das. But we said that the Das can break into two. And what is the two that it breaks into? The Chesed and the Gevurah, right? And that's how you get the four, right? And that's the Zer Anpin. The Zer Anpin comes from by having the right Chachma and the right Bina. That's how you can form the Zer Anpin, the lower seven spheres. With Tefillin shel Yad, hey bechinas it's noitzes hamoichen shel hamalchus, shel the midah of malchus, which is the lower one. Malchus is lower, but at the same time it's also higher. Because Malchus encompasses even the upper ones, right? Malchus is the lowest one, but Malchus also encompasses everyone. Like it says that the king, Gamri, has nothing on himself. It's only through everything else, right? A king, if he's by himself, what is he? He's not. He's a regular person. But if he has all these people and he rules these people, then he's a king. Right, so that's Malchus. Malchus, when you feel Malchus is more important when you work on the Zer Anpin, you work on Tikkun Amidas, so then the Malchus is more prevalent and it's more relevant to you in your life. Okay, Shul Bechinas Emuna. This is the idea of Emuna, and we said the Emunascha Balelis. We just sang the song this morning, right after our davening, right? Right? We said when we go to sleep, that's where we get the infusion of emunah, right? The neshama brings back to me that emunah because it saw the clarity, right? In other words, when the neshama goes upstairs, you say shechazata bi nishmasi. So the neshama came from upstairs. It came from the holy place. It brings into me this idea. There's such a thing as emunah. There's a rebellion. I saw the real thing. It's not what this world chose me. My neshama experienced it, and it brings it in. And that's why you get up early in the morning. You could do some avoda. You could tap into that. So you could really, it's there. But the only, sometimes it's almost like, the old radios. You say the dial, right? So all the channels are in that radio, right? They're all there, right? But you have to just know tune it to get it to just right, so that the thing plays, right? This is what we're learning here. How to tune into this, to the idea that we have this Nekuda Kedosha that comes into us every day. We have to tune into it. The same way you tune in the radio, right? Is that a good example? I don't know. Do you like that example?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, not tuned in, we just get noise.
You get noise. And that's what people have in their head. They have noise, right?
Yeah.
But if we're learning how to tune it nice, and that's how you get the malchus, you can fix it all up, okay? But you need the emunah for that, okay? Ve'ikar hatfilin v'amoichin v'achiyas nimshochen ha'idei tzadikei hador hamitim. The main tefillin and the moichin come from the avodah of the tzaddikim of the dor, the true tzaddikim of the dor. Because we said that they get up at night, they get up and do their thing, and they're doing their avodah, and by them doing that, and every time we do our avodah, never think it's not helping. Every little thing we do helps. Every little thing, anytime we have a machshava dibra ma'isa for our Kodesh Baruch Hu in a good way, we're helping the whole world. We have no idea. We have no idea what we're doing. Never ever think that doesn't matter. I said this, I didn't say. It makes a very, very big roshim. Shema moichin v'achiyas shel kol olam. Because the tzaddikim are the mayach and the chiyas of the whole world. Ki kol tzaddik hador hu bechinas Moshe Mashiach. Because each tzaddik is an aspect of a teacher. Moshe Rabbeinu is Rabban Shel Yisrael, right? Moshe Rabbeinu is the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael, correct? Right? So every teacher, every true tzaddik that's out there, and the tzaddik, like we're learning the words of the tzaddikim, right? Well, that's what we're learning over here. So this is an aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu, because he's teaching us about Hashem. Any sefer that teaches you about Hashem, that's an aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's all Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to teach us about Hashem. And the Torah is, what is the Zohar says? The Torah is 613 different advices on how to get close to Hashem, right? That's what the tzaddikim are there for. K'moshe Kosov, Moshe Shaper Ka'amart. Moshe spoke in a very beautiful way. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to always be malamed schus on Klal Yisrael. Moshe who hadas. Moshe Rabbeinu is the real das, Torah. Moshe Rabbeinu, Torah's Moshe, right? That's the das. That's the information. That's the supernal information, the knowledge that we need. Okay, bechinas hatfilin k'maysham Rabbeinu zal b'mokei macha, as Rabbi Nachman said in other places. He said again, the idea is that the tefillin are connected to the tzaddikim, and why are they connected to that tzaddikim? Because the whole idea that tefillin is to bring me the das. We have that chokhmah, the being and the das, and the tefillin are connected to the das. Where do I get my das from? I get my das because of my emunah, right? And how do I get my emunah? Being connected to the tzaddikim and believing in the teachings of the tzaddikim. Ki hatzadik emesu bechinas v'noah yoytze meyedin lahashkois es hagan. The idea that tzaddik is when there was a river up on high that went from Eden, that went out from Gan Eden. The Torah speaks about it, right? Lahashkois es hagan, to irrigate. I think that's the right word to use, to irrigate the Gan, right? In other words, you have a river that's flowing, and the river flows and it irrigates the Gan. The same way we know that the Nile River in Mitzrayim, right? The Nile River was overflowing and it was always watering the what do you call it? All of the farmland that was in Mitzrayim. That's how they always had. That's how they had their prosperity. But where was the original one? Up on high. That's Gan Eden. Same idea. Okay. Yipared v'hoya la'arba roshim. And it says that the Torah says that it separates and it has four different veins. It goes out in 4 different ways. 4, tefillin, right? And we're going to see in a minute. Okay, shehem bechinas arba parshiyah shebet tefillin. That's the idea of the 4 parshias in the Tefillin. The one that goes out, the Gan Eden that goes out to the 4. That's the 4 parshias in the Tefillin. Kayadua. Kayadua. Everybody knows this. Rav Nosson says, like we learned this in first grade. You don't remember? Everyone knows this,
There
right?
are 4 rivers.
Yeah, if you look in Parsha Bereshis, right, and you read about it, it tells you that there was a river that went from Gan Eden,
Right.
and that river was irrigating the garden, right? It was irrigating the garden, and then from there it split into 4. So we're learning that those four veins are like the 4 parshias in the Tefillin. Shehem HaMoichin Shel HaTefillin. What?
Efrat is one of them.
What?
Efrat.
Why not? Yeah.
Hideki.
Okay. I don't.
Efrat, Hideki, Holstein.
אולי זה נכון. Okay, whatever. Okay. We're learning the concept over here from the river up on high, as we're learning that the tefillin is something so lofty. So we're making the association. It's really the rivers up on high. Those rivers up on high, that's where the tefillin are really connected to. So when we wear the tefillin, we said they're like almost an antenna. You're wearing an antenna that really connects you and lets you tune in to the Rebbeinu Shalom, right? You know you need an antenna, right? You want to get a good reception, you have to have an antenna. This is the antenna. And you know the little hairs on the tefillin? You have those little things together? Those are the extra antenna. Yeah, those are the extra. Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing, right? That's the tzaddik, the one that gives out that's mashke the gan, the people, all of the Jews, and he goes out to the 4. He goes out to all different branches of Klal Yisrael. This is the tzaddik. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu is. Okay, does it make sense?
Yes.
It does. Good. Okay, v'zeu tefillin shel roish u'tefillin shel yad. So now let's talk about the difference of the tefillin shel roish and the tefillin shel yad. Okay, the tefillin shel roish, when it comes to the head tefillin, that's an aspect of the tzaddik, and that's an aspect of the zer anpin kiyadua. That's the aspect of the spheres of the chesed gvur tveres netzach chod yesod malchus. That's the tefillin shel roish, which is the tzaddik. And now when it comes to the tefillin shel yad, that's Knesset Yisrael. That's us. That's Knesset Yisrael. So you have the tzaddik is the roish. Okay, like we said, Rosh, Rebbe is Rosh B'nai Yisrael, right? That we said, right? Rosh, right? Rebbe, Rosh B'nai Yisrael, Rosh B'nai Yisrael. He's the head, right? So that's why it's the head on the head tefillin. Klal Yisrael with the yad, right next to the lave, right? Shehu Bechinas HaMalchus. That's the Malchus, okay? Because again, the bottom we have the tefillin shel Rosh is on top. The Malchus is the lower one, but the lower one we said always encompasses, the Malchus encompasses all the upper spheres also up until Keser, okay? Canal. The Mayach of the Tzaddik, the Mayach of the Tzaddikim. And like we just said about the four latter Zekanim, what they were able to recall. That's the tzaddik that he's purifying himself more. He can have a greater recollection. He can be connected to those 4 because he's working on purifying himself much more. Right? The purer we are, the more we can remove all of the excess nonsense that we have in our minds. Right? You know, today we can do that. You just take the highlighter, right? You just highlight the whole thing. You go delete, right? That's it. Delete, right? Is it beautiful, right? It's amazing, right?
That's what I do with all the chametz.
Yeah, you just highlight it and delete it. We can do that. The more we can do that in our mind, to get rid of all of the nonsense that we have in there, right? All of that stuff that's in there. So then we can recall more important the things that we really want to be able to recall. So the tzaddikim, they don't fill their minds with so much nonsense, right?
and you get older, it deletes automatically.
It deletes automatically, yeah? No, okay.
Actually, I had a friend, he told me the computer's running, it just hasn't gotten to the place where it was saved yet. Mm-hmm. The computer was running, looking for the answer to the question.
Yeah.
But the processor is so full, it's just taking more time to find the answer.
Wow. Okay. Okay, now, Tefillin shel Rosh. U'meichin shel Klal Yisrael she'atzadik meya bahem u'mekarvim la'Hashem Yisbarach zeh bechinas shel Tefillin shel Yad. That the tzaddik is trying to always bring us closer. This is what the tzaddik is trying to do, is trying to be mekarev yidden all the time. Again, via showing the Jew that he has a neshama. By showing the Jew there's more than just the guf, and there's more than just the physical things of the world. There's a neshama, there's something that's eternal. This is what the tzaddikim try to do. Shemek karva, hein bechinas emuna, shua ikar hayesoid shakol toli boy. The tzaddikim, they try to infuse in us emuna. Believe in the Rebbeinu. The more you believe, Vayaminu b'Hashem u'v'Moshav, they believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom. Emuna in the tzaddikim. Believe in yourself. Believe in Klal Yisrael. Emuna. K'may shamru bo Chabakuk v'hemdin al achas tzaddik v'emunasai yichya. Came the Navi Chabakuk, right? And then Chabakuk said, the beautiful Navi, he said, wow, al achas, on one thing. Now, what was this? The main thing. The one thing is the ikar. That's the main thing. There's one thing that the tzaddik stands on. And what is that? V'emunasa yichya. He lives with emunah. If you live with emunah, that's considered living. Right? The person is full of life. The person is full energy. Everything is gewaldic when you have emunah in Hashem. When we don't have emunah in Hashem, the person is very down. The person is full of anger. The person is full of anxiety. Everything else. That's not life. That's not life.
How do you define emunah when you're thinking about it?
Emunah is hashkocha pratis.
What does that mean?
That means Hashem is running every aspect of my life and every aspect of the world at every moment. Every moment. It's all Hashem running everything. Nothing happens haphazardly. There's no such a thing as a coincidence. Coincidence is actually a word of kfira, right?
Of what?
Of heresy. We say it's a coincidence. There's no Hashem exactly. He wanted this to happen just like that. There's no such thing as a coincidence. We use it in the vernacular, right? Coincidence. But really, if you think about it, Hashem designed it to happen exactly like that. Like this. It's not that it's a coincidence. That's exactly how Hashem wanted it.
You're minimizing the event.
Right? You're removing Hashem. By saying it's a coincidence, you're removing Hashem. Right? Isn't that what you're doing? You're saying, this was a coincidence. It happened by itself.
Happenstance. Yeah.
Happenstance, right? Happenstance, right? So you remove Hashem. But really, that was HaKadosh. Like he said, the tzaddik ve'emunasa yichya.
Some gases exploded and we have life.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Of course the gases exploded, because Hashem exploded the gases. Right. They're right. But they're just missing the emunah.
Yeah, who made the gas? Come on.
They're missing the emunah. That's the problem. No. They're right on the premise.
Yeah.
That they're okay with, but they just don't understand that it was Hashem that did it. Unbelievable.
Because he had to do tzimtzum before he could.
Because why did Hashem do that all? Because he wants there to be bechira in the world. For us to have free choice. Right? He wants us to have free choice. Right? That's why we have all of the nonsense at all, because Hashem wants us to choose Him. Right? It's all about emunah. That's what it's all about. Now, v'hainu, shatzadik muchrach l'salik es hamoichin shaloi, afilu hareshimu v'nistalekes b'shas hashena. So everyone has to at one point relax the mind. You have to, every day, you have to go to sleep. You have to relax the mind, right? We spoke about that, right? That's why it's so important at night, before you go to sleep, you say Kriya Shema Lamita the right way. And by saying it the right way, and you make an accounting of the day, so you can settle the day, all of the shortcomings that you may have had during the day, right? You make rectification for all of those things before you go to sleep. And now you have nothing to worry about. Right? Because you took care of everything. So now you can put your mind at ease because you took care of all your business. Because we said the principle, when there's din down here, there's no din up there. When there's no din down here, there's din upstairs. Right? There's judgment. If there's judgment down here, there's no judgment up on high. If there's no judgment down here, then there's judgment on high. So if I judge myself at Kriya Shema Lamita, I judged myself already, so there's no judgment on high. I took care of it. Already.
No double jeopardy.
No double jeopardy. It was already tried, and I found myself guilty, and I apologized for it already. It's okay. I'm done. It's done.
Well, that's, when you forgive yourself, Hashem has to forgive you. That's like if I forgive someone else.
It's not that you forgive yourself. You're talking about neshama here. That's not yourself.
Well,
You're making a rectification for the things of ruchni, of spirituality, the neshama. You're trying to make those so when you send your neshama up on high, because when you go to sleep, the neshama leaves us, it goes up. You don't want to send the neshama up there with all the different blemishes and it should have a spotted shirt and all of that stuff. You want it to be nice and clean and nice, right?
Yeah.
People, when they travel, when they used to travel, they used to put on a nice suit, right? And today everyone wears their pajamas, whatever, right? They don't understand, right? Right, David? David, you remember years ago, right? When people were going to get on a train, they were going to bus, they would wear a nice suit, they would get dressed nice, right? Today you just... you throw on a t-shirt, a pair of shorts, whatever it is, and they go. It's just showing you really where the world is heading. You understand? But really, it's going to sleep is like going on that trip. The same way when you go on the trip, they wanted to dress nicely. You send the neshama off. You want to send the neshama off in a nice way. You ever think of it like that?
No.
I should put him in a suit.
Yeah, but how do you do it? No, how do you do that? By making rectifications. So you send them off. Everything it's nice. You make it real. You make it real in your life. Again, tuning in, right? Tuning in. It's there. I just have to tune in, right? That's tuning in to recognize that the neshama is going to take the trip now. And in the morning, I'm going to say Shechazata bi nishmasi, right? It's a program, right? Like we said, Ve'emunascha ba'leilos, right? I get my emunah at night. Right? But how do I get if I want more emunah, I have to put the neshama to sleep the right way, send it off in the right way, so then it'll come back with a better regime, so then I'll have more of an impression in my mind of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I'll live my day in the right way. You follow? It's a beautiful system, right? So even the tzaddik has to do this, right? And then we said that even Moshe Rabbeinu, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was teaching Moshe Rabbeinu the Torah, giving over the Torah to Moshe Rabbeinu. So Moshe Rabbeinu, there are parshias, right? There are separations in the Torah. It's not one continuation, right? Right? You have the parsha of Bereshis, and you have Noach, Lech Lecha, right? You have the parshias. Why? Because each time Hashem gave over Moshe Rabbeinu a parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu needed time to process it. He needed time to process that before he's ready to take the next one on. He needed time to rest for a second. You need a little time to relax. That's the tzaddikim. They also have to go to sleep at night. The tzaddikim need to rest. They have to rest their mind so they don't overwork the mind. We said if you overwork your mind, that's where migraine headaches come from. You know that? No. We have the solution here for migraine headaches. Rest the mind. Go to sleep the right way. Rest the mind. So the mind isn't overworking during the night, right? If you go to sleep and you don't rest the mind, so then the mind is working all through the night, and it gives you a crazy headache because he needs to relax. You understand? And they take medication, they take this. No, the answer is just say Kriya Shema Lamita, watch, it'll fix it. It'll fix it. I'm sorry, all you doctors out there, I'm sorry, but this is the truth. Oh, yeah. I'm going to get a lot of emails, I'm sure. Okay. It's like a b'shas but listen, I'm saying the truth. I don't care. And it's like a b'shas ha'shena. V'loi nisha etzloi ki hareshimu shel moyach emunah. And when the tzaddik, when it leaves, the only thing that's left is the emunah. We always have the emunah. The emunah is there. Whenever we work to gain emunah, we have that.
When he's going to sleep.
Yeah, when he goes to sleep, he has the emunah, right?
Still doesn't get rid of it completely.
No, the emunah. No, because wait a second. Going to sleep is emunah, right? Sasha, wait, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Right, Sasha, you carry your nesek with you, right?
Yeah.
Right, okay, when you're going in the street, right? Yeah. Okay, but when you go to sleep, do you have it in your hand? No. You put it away, right? You trust in the Rabbeinu Shalom. You go to sleep, right? You go to sleep.
Yeah.
What?
He was pointing at his head.
Going to sleep. What is going to sleep? Relaxing and saying, wow, Hashem, you're going to take care of everything. Right? If a person's worried about it, he can't sleep. Right? If a person is he understands that Hashem is there to protect me. It's Hashem that's protecting me. He can go to sleep and he can sleep well. He knows everything is great. He feels comfortable. You understand? The whole idea of going to sleep is emunah.
Absolutely. I mean, no
one guarantees that you're going to wake up.
Exactly. There's no guarantee of anything in life. No guarantees. Okay, Amuna Nishra Beliba. It remains in his heart. And we said that the whole idea of the tefillin in Eretz Yisrael is to straighten out the akmumius of the heart. Right? We have that crookedness in the heart, right? It's all to straighten out that crookedness. Right? Bebechinas kachoisim alibecha. We have that stamp. Kachoisim, right? The chosim is the stamp, the signature that's on the heart. And what's that? That's the emuna. When you fill your heart with emuna, you don't have anything to worry about. Sha'oz b'shas hashena emuna nis tzamtza nimtzamtza nis katna b'yasoid nekuda. It gets smaller and smaller. It comes into like the little nakuda. The same way we said, like the moon, right? The moon waxes and wanes. The moon gets so small. It's a little nakuda. It's a little tiny thing. The moon is a sliver. But don't worry, it's going to get bigger. The same thing with the moon. I go to sleep at night. That's why the Jew is compared to the moon. That's why David HaMelech, we said, is the Levana. Right? Because David HaMelech is always going up and he understands Aliyah, and you read this, and every you read there's only Litzarech, the Aliyah. Right? We said that, right? Every time we fall down, it's only to go back up. Because Hashem wants to test us and we're going to go back up higher. And he goes down to the world, to the lower worlds, and he can fix the nitzaitzais over there.
What's in the sights?
The sparks, those sparks, the holy sparks. The shards, the spark, he can lift them up. And that's what the tzaddikim do. They go into the lower places and they come and help fix up the other Yidden. They help fix up the other Jews that are not so good. They help to lift them up. It's incumbent upon the tzaddik that he has to go to sleep. And he has to lower himself, right? He has to lower himself into the aspect of sleep to relax his mind. To relax his mind. Who mevarer ayidei bechinas emuna shalai, and he makes that clarification. He clarifies everything and works everything out through the emuna. He realizes everything that happened, that transpired during the day was all. He uses his emuna to see that it was all Hashem in every aspect of everything. And he can find those sparks, those holy sparks, from the depths of the husks of impurity. He can go pick them out, right? He can go pick it out. It's almost like you ever see them when they were looking for the gold nuggets. They have to go in the mud, right? They have to go in the mud and sift through the mud in order to get. That's a tzaddik. The tzaddik is sifting through all of the junk to find the sparks, to find something of holiness. So he has to go into all the junk. But the tzaddik uses emunah to be able to go into it, to fix it. Shein bechinis kama v'kama neshamayis shel oisam shenaflu ba'v'neseyam v'nisrachachu me'Hashem yizbarach. That's all the unfortunate neshamas, the unfortunate souls that sinned, and they distanced themselves from Hashem. Kol echad kefi mashen nisrachik ba'v'nesav. Each one according to what they did to distance themselves, Rahman al from Hashem. So the tzaddik goes down, and the tzaddik comes and tries to wake them up. The tzaddik is trying to wake them up. We said that's the whole idea of Rabbi Nachman's stories, right? The 13 stories of Tzipurei Maisias. The world tells stories to put people to sleep. Rabbi Nachman says, I tell stories to wake people up. Right? I want to wake people up from their sleep, right? Not the bedtime stories. Ulasalik is data kidei lahachnis b'hem emuna shlema, in order to enter into them emuna shlema. That don't worry, you too can be renewed. Remember, machadesh betuvay b'chol yitam et masarej. We said that the whole idea of, we were talking about the whole idea of the erech hapayim, right? We said there were 3 levels of the Erech HaPayim. What are the 3 levels of the Erech HaPayim? We said it's the Tzaddik, we have the Beinani, and we said we have the Rasha. Right? The Tzaddik is trying to constantly go up higher. Right? We learned that, right? The Tzaddik is trying to always go back higher. He needs to have that patience. He needs that Erech HaPayim. And we said the Beinani is constantly fighting. He's constantly fighting. He has the Yetzer Hara, but the Beinoni never gives in. He's always successful. The Beinoni is always successful. How is he going to be always successful? Patience. He needs to have that Erech HaPayim to be able to do that, to have patience with himself. And the Rasha, we said, perhaps he needs it the most, because the Rasha fell to whatever he fell to. But if he believes he's new at this moment, and that's what the Tzaddik teaches him, if you're new at this moment you didn't sin. This moment you didn't sin. You're brand new right now at this moment. This moment you didn't sin. You don't have to sin right now. You don't have to. Just because you did it before, that was then. Now you're new again. If you're new, you don't have to sin right now. Now you could stop it. You could stop it. And even though the Rosh is so involved in his things, and he will stumble again. And that's why he needs it so much more to have patience with himself. He needs to take that deep breath and try again and keep trying again and never ever to give up. What?
Sheva Yipol Tzaddik.
Become. Sheva Yipol Tzaddik become, but he gets up. He gets up, always gets
What does
up.
that mean? Translate that.
The tzaddik falls 7 times, but he gets up. That's the tzaddik. He can fall, but he'll always get up. That's us. That's Klal Yisrael. That's Klal Yisrael. We can always fall, but don't worry, we'll get up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us. We said, Soymech Hashem l'chol ha'noiflim. Hashem supports anyone that fell. He straightens out anyone that's bent. How do you like that? Hashem straightens us out. The crookedness in the heart straightens out the heart. Any of the bending, any of the stuff that we have in the heart that's crooked, Hashem can straighten us out from. Okay. Kidei lekarvam el emuna, kidei shelachziram. Hashem is about to bring us back to emuna. Shekol zehu bechina sheina shel tzaddik. This is when the tzaddik goes to sleep. See what the tzaddik does when he goes to sleep? The tzaddik is going into the world of neshamas. He goes up to that world, right? He goes into there. He sees all the neshamas that had all their problems, and he comes and he gives them CPR. He gives those neshamas CPR. He gives them CPR. He wants to resuscitate these neshamas that have fallen so deeply. That's what the tzaddikim are working on. K'muvim b'divrei Rabbeinu zal b'mokei macher shema she'oisik l'daber im ha'olam siches chulin v'tzipurei maisias. How Rabbi Nachman went to Uman, and he saw those were the leaders of the Haskalah, the enlightened movement were over there. And Rabbi Nachman sat there and he played chess with them. You think Rabbi Nachman wanted to play chess? He couldn't care less about the chess. That was the silliest thing to him. But he did it. He needed something to connect to them with, and they like chess, right? So it's something they thought it's something intellectual, right? The chess, you have to make plans, right? You have to know your move. You have to figure out your calculations, right? It's all about teva, right? Chess is about teva. Right? I can figure it out. I know what you're going to do with this, right? All right, chess. So Rabbi Nachman specifically played with them. Why? To wake them up. He tried. Who knows what he accomplished by spending the time with them. The great tzaddik spent the time with them where they felt a little bit relaxed. See, that was the thing. See, Rabbi Nachman didn't want to spend the time with them, telling them about Torah, because then they would just be very defensive. But when he spends the time with them, they're playing chess, and they think they have an edge over the rabbi, so they feel very good. So they can listen to the rabbi. You understand?
And when they lose, that gives him.
It doesn't matter when they win or lose. That's not the point. There's the time, the connection. The rabbi can have a connection to them. That's all he was trying to do. It didn't matter who wins or loses. That doesn't matter. He wanted to have something to connect to them. Something to connect on their level. To connect to them on their level.
The Turkey Prince.
Yeah. If you want, I'll send you a picture. Of Rabbi Weinberger, my dear Rebbe. About 20 years ago, he was playing. We used to do on Memorial Day. We would go and have a baseball game. We would have a barbecue. We would have a barbecue and a baseball game. Rabbi Weinberg was standing there with a baseball bat batting. I'm going to send a picture in the group. I have a picture of Rabbi Weinberg is standing there with his Yankee cap on. He had his Yankee cap on. He was batting the hit, and you see him with a bat in his hand. I'll send you the picture. You say, why was he doing that? You think he cares about it? He says he cares about it. He says he cares about the Yankees. He says he cares about it. And he makes fun of the Mets and he does all of that stuff. Why is he doing that? Because he wants to have that connection with the Chevra. You understand? The Chevra is connected to their baseball. So the rabbi's on a different level. He's on a different playing field. literally a different playing field. You understand? So when the rabbi comes, yeah. So the rabbi comes on that level. He comes on that level. It's the same way Rabbi Nachman was playing chess. He's playing baseball. These guys don't want to play chess. They want to play baseball, right? So he's playing baseball. It doesn't matter. You think he wanted to play baseball? He'd rather have his Gemara open. You think he wanted to play baseball? No, but he realized he can affect so many people. He can affect so many people by going and playing a baseball game. You understand? Going out to that game. You understand? And doing that, spending that time was very precious time. Okay? I'm just trying to give you examples to help understand what we're learning here. Does it help? Mm-hmm. Is this yeah? It's good. Okay. Shemasho Isaac Ledabe Ma'olim Sichas Chulim Zibur Ma'aseh Kol Zehu Bechina Sheina Etzloi. To the tzaddik, it's sleep. He doesn't need that. V'Hakol Hu B'Shvila Hagbiya Lohorim Es Ha'olam Lekorvam LaHashem Yisbarach. He's doing all of this only to lift up everybody else. He doesn't need it. He doesn't. Tzaddik doesn't need it. He's doing it for them. He's doing it. Mamish. It's an avoid of love. He loves Klal Yisrael. That's why he's doing something he doesn't really want to do, but he's doing something to help somebody else. Ki ma'atzmam hamoyach shel tzaddik ef shel lekabel, because the moyach and the tzaddik can't even accept such a thing. Why? You think Rabbi Nachman sitting there and playing with a chess game, the king and the queen? You think he needed that? The rook and the knight? You think that's what he wanted to be playing with? You didn't think he needed that? Therefore, he has to exit his mind and all of his things. And he has to go down into the little point and to leave all of his information and just to go down to the little point. Levaram, to clarify. Lahaloisam, ayadei nekudas emuna, through the kuda emuna levad. And this is what we're gonna stop over here today. This is an amazing idea. We'll stop with this idea, okay? What the avodah the tzaddik does, and this is the tefillin shel rosh. Right, this is the tefillin shel rosh. The tefillin shel rosh is the tzaddik, and he's doing it to come down. And the yad we said is Klal Yisrael, Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael needs the emuna, is emuna. Right, so the tzaddik comes down to Knesset Yisrael in order to help Knesset Yisrael. Everyone have a wonderful day. Kol Tov.